Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Persimmon and Pine Homestead. Well, it's a drizzly day here in southeast Missouri. I thought it would be a good day to um, make this video. Uh, I get a lot of questions from family and friends who always ask me, of course, they're always curious with 7 kids, how do you treat this or that? And we we tend to, you know, we tend to lean more toward the holistic side of things. And by holistic, that is treating the whole person, whatever that may be. Maybe they don't need a homeopathic remedy, maybe they need something else. Um, they, we try to treat um, the person as a whole. Sometimes that might require maybe some over the counter medication or might even require a prescription. But most often we lean toward natural remedies to help versus the alternative. Um, so I kind of wanted to just make a quick video. Hopefully, this is a quick video on what we tend to keep on hand for those days where we might be under the weather. I am married to an ER nurse, and thankfully, throughout almost the 2 decades that we have been together, um, mostly I feel like he kind of he's exposed to all of the junk every day at work. So we typically don't get sick often, honestly, or if we get sick, we're not sick for very long. It's usually gone within a day or two um, with all of us. The only time that that's kind of been something that hasn't passed so quickly is years ago when we caught COVID for the first time. We both we both literally thought we were going to die, but we're both very stubborn and hard-headed, and we were like, No, we're not going out like this." So we pulled through, and of course, it helped. It helped that we had 6 kids at the time that were depending on us, and so we pushed through that and made it out okay. Um, but just for the everyday, like viral things that come around that we might pick up on or something like that, I thought I would kind of just touch base on some of those things real quick to tell you like what we typically keep on hand. One of them, these are just some supplements, so I'll try to put them into categories as far as like what I feel like they fall under. So these are just supplements. So this one here is oil of oregano. Uh, it can technically be taken by, you know, I would say it says 14 and up, so teenagers um, can take it to, believe me, this will not be their first choice of anything. It is hot. It is very hot. So this, we use this, if we've been exposed to generally like an upper respiratory type virus. This is probably not going to help so much lower, but um, upper respiratory viruses where we feel like we just need a little boost of something to make sure we try to maybe kill it off um, and everything. It is a very warm oil. It is not an essential oil. There's a different process used there for that one. Um, so we use that. My husband and I use that the most. Our kids don't typically use it just because, like I said, it is hot. And before I move any further, I do want to also express to you that I am not a medical professional, and these are just things that I keep on hand in our home. Are I cannot treat, diagnose, um, or cure anything via these. I am not going to claim any of those. So use at your own discretion. Some of our other things are keeping some zinc on hand and some vitamin C. These kinds of things generally pretty good just to keep on hand in general. Um, I we will use these, if we've been hit with something, we decide that we're just going to go ahead and take them. to try to shorten the length that we're sick. Again, like I said, we do typically only get sick for maybe like honestly 2 days per person. I was telling our piano instructor today because we went ahead and canceled for tomorrow just for precautionary reasons. And I was informing her that typically we're only sick for like 2 days at a time per person. But when you're a family of nine, you're looking at a couple of weeks sometimes when people are not feeling so well. Um, so just to be on the safe side, we do not want to, spread any cooties to anybody during this season. So we have canceled for our piano this week. Um, some of my other things that are, non-invasive, breathe right strips. All of our kids, when they cannot breathe out of their nose, um, very traumatic. It's, I mean, I myself do not like not being able to breathe out of my nose, but I feel like it's, like the end of the world for some of them. They uh, do not like to feel stuffy, and these help a lot. They're non-invasive. They, get the ones that are kind of for sensitive skin, and we have not had any issues from those. Um, Also, when I was a kid, my mother used to keep these on hand, Fisherman's Friends. And when I was a kid, I thought she was trying to torture me, quite frankly, because I thought, who on earth would eat those nasty, hot, brown cough drops? And I, of course, as a kid, loved the other cough drops that were oh so delicious. I mean, who would want this versus something that tastes like cherry? And as I got older, as we got older and as we switched over to more of a natural mindset, um, a lot of the cough drops have red dye in them, and we do not do artificial dyes in our home. So we did not even go that path. So our kids now know that if you get sick and your throat is hurting, um, you're going to get this. And quite frankly, I was actually surprised by um, the ingredients on the back. They were not horrible. And if you look at the ones sometimes at the store, there's a lot of junk in those. Even if they look like they're fairly good, there's a lot of junk. So these fairly junk free. Um, some more like over the counter type stuff is we keep on hand Genexa's kids allergy and kids pain and fever. Those are just for if we have a child who is really crummy feeling and we have exhausted other remedies at that point, and we just can't make them comfortable with any of the things we've tried. We will always go to those. I know they have potential setbacks as far as um, things that they can do to you, but in those moments, we're willing to take the risk and make them comfortable. I know that's not always a popular opinion amongst some really die-hard, holistic-minded people, and that's okay. You're totally free to have your own opinion. But we use those in the event that, again, like I said, a kid is hurt. We had a child a few years back who was running barefoot through the backyard, and it just so happened there was a board laying down that we didn't see, and that child got a screw to the bottom of the foot. Um, it did become infected just because it was dirty and she had been running around. And so we took her to be seen for some antibiotics. Not a fan of antibiotics. So um, she got antibiotics and probiotics and pain reliever because there was no way that I was going to watch that child be in pain and maybe like, no, I can't help you. I'm so sorry. And there's a lot of people who feel that way. And I think a lot of people are turned off by natural remedies because of that exact reason. They are, um, they feel like if you believe in natural remedies that you only believe in them and that you're not willing to do that. And I can say that I've heard stories across the board from multiple different ways. I have heard of families who they are so caught up in being holistic and being natural that they refuse to give their children anything else. They refuse it, and um, in turn, they suffer. And I I'm not. I've watched a lot of people suffer in my life, and I'm not willing to watch my kids suffer if I can prevent something like that. So we always go to those in the event of absolutely needing um, pain relief or something. The allergy one, quite frankly, it doesn't get used very often. And in fact, I myself take this on occasion. I have always had really bad allergies, and if I get to the point where my head is literally spinning, I will take that just to kind of help calm those kinds of things down um, and everything. But all right, so moving on to some of the other things that I have here. Um, One of my personal favorites that I go to for pain is Arnica. I like this one specifically. It's a little bit cleaner than some of the other ones that I found out there. I have only found this at Fresh Time in the city. A lot of people always ask me, "Where did you get that from?" And I'm like, "Fresh Time." That's one of my one of my favorite stores when I get to it. Um, Another thing we go to for a lot of things is Dr. Bronner's Magic Bomb. This not only helps with um, it helps with muscle aches, of course, but I actually used it a couple of times as an alternative to like Vicks on myself, not on our children. Again, I know common sense is not always something everybody has, but please use it in any of these kinds of methods. This do not put on your child. I love it though for if we have um, like if I've had like a problem being able to like breathe because I feel really stuffy or something like that, I will rub it on my back. I will have my husband actually rub it on my back because I still breastfeed our youngest child, and you do not want that in their face or in their eyes or anything. I mean, anything. You wouldn't want that. Um, but for kids, we use the Badger aromatic chest rub that we get. Badger, I'm sure there are probably people, again, I will say that many times through this video, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who could tell me that there's a better way of using something, but these are what I use. And again, you are free to use whatever it is that you are passionate about using. This is just what we use. We also have on hand at all times um, some essential oils. We have some different ones like Immune Boom and Tummy All Better. These are from Plant Therapy. Um, they we also have some Germ Destroyer, um, some Plano lavender there. We use these frequently. Um, you know, if we need to put some like in the shower with the kid, or we need to dilute some and apply it, and that is what I have these roller bottles for. Um, you just put some in here with a carrier oil and use that, rub it on their feet, their spine, um, things like that. So we typically try to use those kind of almost like as a last resort, just because they, they're a little bit heavier, I guess, in my mind, as far as like some of the other more like, just plain old homeopathic type stuff. I also here I have some inhalers from Plant Therapy. Um, you fill the little thing on the inside and put it back in. This is a cartridge, and you put it back in here. And then, if a kid has a stuffy nose, you can put eucalyptus in here. let them smell them. I have used these in particular um, after my surgeries. So 6 of our children have been born um, via C-section, and again, my my holistic self doesn't want a bunch of interventions, even with having a C-section. So, following our C-sections, I have been known to use these with some peppermint, some lavender, some sort of, tummy soothing oil inside of them, and smell them following the birth to keep myself from wanting to throw up. Um, I do not take the pain medicine after my C-section, so arnica was my pain medicine after the last 2 C-sections specifically. Um, so in that whole category there, this was also part of my um, my bag when I had our 7th child via C-section. I took the gas and bloat relief because, as C-section moms know, you get trapped air in your abdominal cavity from the C-section, which results in very uncomfortable gas, um, and the pain is it's intense. And so thankfully I was able to take this following the birth, and it helped tremendously. I did not have to take um, all the medicines that they were going to try to give me for it. I just took this. It's super clean too. There's like nothing in it. There's just some herbs in it and stuff. Um, Also, while I'm thinking about this, I personally, I do not swallow pills whatsoever. So, these are capsules, and so I would take them out, and with every capsule I ever take, I actually just take it out and pour the powder into my mouth, and I take it just like that. So I guess I guess some people are like, man, you are really invested in that. Because a lot of them don't always taste the best, and yeah, it's fun. So I personally take a every day I take a liver supplement, and I'm sure at this point a lot of you are like, oh my gosh, how could you even do it? Um, I have seriously became immune to that somehow, and I take it without second guessing, and all of a sudden all the people in the house are like, mom's taking her supplements, because everybody can smell it the moment that I have to open up the capsule and put it in my mouth. All of them know mom has taken her supplement today. Um, that also results in me having to brush my teeth, take some mints, things like that following, especially if I'm headed to church or somewhere where it is not going to be pleasant to have some stinky breath. But these thankfully do not taste like that. So we have no issue there. We have some upset stomach relief too that Hilma also offers. We keep both of those on hand for just in case, if somebody, overindulged in something and now is uncomfortable, we have these to go to. And the this one here, the gas and bloat relief, um, everything in it I feel safe enough giving to even some of our younger kids. So we've even opened up the capsule and gave them, a little bit of that or whatever, just to kind of help. Um, I know a lot of people, they use activated charcoal and grape juice for stomach viruses. And I want to say, knock on wood, our stomach viruses have been very limited in the almost 16 years that we've been parents. We have only had maybe 2 or 3 stomach type viruses where we've had major issues. So thankfully, we have avoided that, for the most part. Um, but we do have those on hand for that too. I got this called Kids Cough Crusader. I got this for trying out. I haven't actually tried this much. When we did use it the one time when some kids were kind of coughing and stuff, it seemed to work. So we got it to keep on hand. Um, I've also made some like chest rub for them before using all our things like olive oil, maybe coconut oil, and garlic, and you put that together and you rub it on like bottoms of feet. You can put it on their chest or their back, and that kind of helps too with some of that coughing and everything. I've made my own cough syrup too before using raw honey, some lemon, um, cayenne, and I think there might have been one more ingredient, but I don't recall what that was at the moment. Um, we do have some Manuka honey that we keep on hand too. That can, in of itself, just help to quiet some coughs. Um, one thing too is it seems that once a kid is done with their virus, it seems that most of them will end up complaining of some ear pain. Um, we have um, we have an otoscope that we can use on our smartphone, and we check out their ears to confirm, is there anything going on, or is it just, you know, is it nothing, or is it something? And so we use the ear oil here. This would have been something that probably your grandparents or great grandparents probably would use something similar to this. This has, some mullein in it and some garlic and some arnica. We put this in there and we put a cotton ball in, and generally, I would say within 8 to 12 hours, the kid is not complaining anymore. We continue to monitor that, though. We check and make sure that, is it going down and everything? Is any redness going down, going away? Um, and we keep that up if necessary. Um, I also like to keep with the Fisherman's Friends. If I have to get a other kind of cough drop, I will get the traditional medicinal throat coat type cough drops to keep if I need something else in that moment. Sometimes kids, it's easier to get them to take something else, a little sweeter, which I really try to avoid, but if I have to use it, I do get the throat coat one. One of our biggest things that we love, um, hopefully the camera can pick that up, is oscillococcinum. We love it. It's a homeopathic remedy. I learned in some groups a while back, whatever, that even though the container tells you to take a whole vial of this, generally what we do is we take this cap and remove it, and we pour maybe 2 capfuls and then put it under the tongue. Some of our kids like to try to crunch this. You're actually supposed to let it dissolve under your tongue. This helps a lot, a lot for sure. Um, so we keep that on hand at all times. One of my favorite things for like if I have a stuffy nose or kids have a stuffy nose is saline, just plain saline. I have found that this saline specifically does not carry a bunch of the added preservatives, which why we need preservatives in our saline is beyond me. But this one does not carry the preservatives in it like some of the other ones have. Frida Baby is another one that's really good about not having stuff in it. Some of the other ones I would recommend that you check because all saline is not created equal. This one right here, if I literally just cannot breathe out of my nose, um, this is the one I go to, and I will alternate between this one, and I will just keep flushing until I feel like I'm getting somewhere. This here, though, it stings. It feels like fire going up your nose. So be aware that if you do try it, it stings. So that is why I alternate between them. I will generally spray this one first to kind of soothe my nose, put this in, go back to this, and generally at that point, I'm able to get somewhere. I'm either able to breathe to go to sleep, or I'm able to blow my nose and have relief from that in that moment. The other thing that we keep on hand is Umka. A couple years back, uh, I would take Umka and Oscillococcinum and Arnica and call it my holy trio because I felt like it helped me tremendously to be able to get rid of whatever was going on within about a day or two. It seemed to get rid of that quickly. I want to say though, common, basic hand washing skills are tremendously helpful in helping to prevent cold and flu viruses and other things that you're going to come in contact with. Um, I remember years ago, we had gone to Fresh Time and a woman walked out of the bathroom. I was sitting out in the hallway near the bathroom with one of our younger kids, and some of our older kids had gone into the bathroom. And she walks out the door and she looks at me and she goes, I just want to compliment you on your children's tremendous hand washing skills. And back then, I thought that was hilarious because I was like, I've been complimented on a lot of things, but hand washing skills is a new one to me. And it is because I feel like hand washing is extremely important to the point where when we have people over, I make it a point to tell people to wash your hands before we eat because hand washing is very important to me. But when we are in places where soap and water are not available, say we're at a picnic in the park or something like that, I will then go to uh, I I will go to my second best thing, which is our homemade hand sanitizer. This only has a couple of ingredients. I will probably post a video in the coming months about this. We I just make up a big batch of hand sanitizer and I store it, and then I refill my bottles as necessary for going places. And again, hand sanitizer is one of those things, kind of like saline, where they're not all created the same. And you're like, oh, it's a hand sanitizer. It's clean, and it's not always clean. There is a lot of added junk in hand sanitizers, also artificial fragrances and just stuff that you don't want on your skin because you're going to be eating from your hands. And babies, they put everything in their mouth, and you don't want all that on their hands from those hand sanitizers. Um, so moving forward, I also keep on hand um, all of these are licorice. This is just kind of, licorice has been known to help with viruses and things like that, lessening them, etc. Um, it's a long ways from when I was a kid, and my grandparents would go and get me Good and Plenty, as I'm sure many of you are familiar with, and my grandparents would go get that. And I look back and I'm like, I have no idea how much red dye I actually consumed as a child. In my adult life, that doesn't happen. And then we keep tummy soothers and throat soothers on hand. These have uh, a couple of ingredients that are similar as far as both of them, but we keep both of them on hand. Throat soothers for when our kids are like coughing and their throats are just scratchy and we're done with it. They don't need to be cough. We have multiple things to pull from it. We have the throat soothers and the Fisherman's Friends and the cough drops. And then the tummy soothers, um, we like to sometimes just take and go for a ride. We'll get in the car, and we've been known to just have impromptu trips to the city, to like the zoo or the Magic House or places like that. Or we've been known to take the long way home and take a back road or something. And we keep these in the car for those kinds of trips, or again, stomach viruses. So we do keep those on hand in the event that someone has an upset stomach. This is also for upset stomachs. It doesn't taste that great. It doesn't taste horrible, but it doesn't taste great to the kids. So we keep this just in case we have some sort of upset stomach or something like that. I have not tried it during a pregnancy to know if I would recommend this for that particular time or not. I don't see why it wouldn't be a good idea. But again, I don't know. We have electrolyte. This is one of the things that we keep on hand at all times. This is probably not the best electrolyte out there. Quite frankly, I'd honestly like to just make my own all the time, which I have made a couple of times during an illness. I've made it with like honey and lemon juice and tart cherry juice and orange juice, and you get a lot of the things that you would get from here, but this is an easy, quick, convenient type of thing. So if you're, needing to go somewhere and you need an electrolyte, you have that one there. This, of course, raw honey. We use this to put in our tea. We use that, again, we can use that sometimes, if we don't have the Manuka honey, we just take this. It's better, but we don't always have that on hand. It just depends on if we can get it locally, because we have beekeepers around here, just not a lot who sell them, sell honeys for that matter. And then we have some teas on hand. I have 3 different types of throat coat, so we keep those on hand. That there, some others that we keep on hand in case. My favorite is the rooibos chai. I like that one a lot. Again, it has no caffeine in it, but it's warming, so I feel like it helps in the event that I have, coughing or my chest and head feel congested. I just reach for that one there. It's warming. My favorite brand of tea, though, if I don't do loose leaf, my favorite brand is Buddha tea. It is non-bleached bags, which is a huge bonus to me. I'm sure you could go and buy loose leaves and put them into non-bleached tea bags, but that's not what I always have on hand, as most of you don't. Another basic, coconut water. It doesn't taste that good to our children. Always you would think that it would be so sweet and delicious, but taking all the supplements that I've had to take over the years just by themselves, I feel like I can drink any of that and it doesn't taste horrible, but kids don't always think it's the sweetest. So coconut water is generally not their first thing. It's usually tea that they want with some honey in it and everything, which is fine. I also have some books that we've kept on hand. I'm also like not affiliated with any of these people, not associated in any capacity, just a mom saying what we use. This is one of the books that we found during COVID to be helpful with some of the things. Also, Rosemary Gladsar has a lot of books. I have a couple of them here. My sister-in-law had asked me about a month ago about something, and I immediately grabbed my Rosemary Gladsar book here and immediately was like, hold on, I'm going to tell you if that is exactly safe, because it was something I don't necessarily use all the time. Also for myself, I use the Wise Woman herbal book for the childbearing year, because for the last 16 years, I have had a baby pretty much every other year. It also gives advice on like if you're breastfeeding, what's safe during breastfeeding too. And again, I had said in a video prior that I've been breastfeeding for 12 years, almost 12 years straight. I joked with our kids and said I should have said not the same baby, of course. But I have been breastfeeding for 12 years straight almost, and so it's always nice to know, like, is this safe while I'm breastfeeding? And as many of you guys out there who follow natural remedy type stuff, whatever, Earthly's founder uh, wrote this book, and I found this at Five Below. I saw her ad one day on Facebook or Instagram or something like that, and she said, "Hey, this is at Five Below," and we just got a Five Below like right before that. So I went over and checked out their book section, and sure enough, the book was sitting there. And so I was like, of course, I need that as part of my arsenal of um, references to go back and look at and everything. So again, these are just some of the things that we use. I do realize I mentioned some of them in a non-cold and flu um, remedy example. Also, so they're usually, it's usually universal. So it's always nice to have them on hand for the cold and flu type stuff, but also just for any kind of, ailment that might occur in our house. It's always awesome to have just something that I can go to that generally everything I just mentioned has like no side effects and everything. Um, the Tylenol and the allergy medicine, those can have side effects. Most of the rest of them, though, do not have side effects or any kind of negative outcomes generally. Every person is different. You could be allergic to anything and any of the things that I just mentioned to you. So, of course, use your own discretion. Advise your physician. I know a lot of people watching will say, like, I don't have a physician and everything, and that's fine too. Do your best research when it comes to those kinds of things, and um, always be cautious when using something that you've never used before because you don't know how your body will react to it. That is exactly how I do with every single thing that I take. Tinctures, same way. I'll take a drop or two of tincture. If I don't have any kind of, reaction to it, I will proceed cautiously. Uh, that's just kind of how I do things. I do not just jump straight in. I'm very, very cautious about how I approach those kinds of things. And so I would recommend that to you also to be um, aware of how your body reacts to anything. And also, I want to advise you that if you try any of the remedies here or just in general, and you're not getting results within, I would say, a day or two, it probably wouldn't hurt to reach out to your physician or a medical professional. Uh, the reason why we ourselves generally try to treat a lot of our things at home, I say a lot, not all, is because I, years ago, with my husband working in the emergency room, years ago, I would see post after post after post on Facebook about somebody's kid was sick and they had diarrhea or they were vomiting, and their first step was to take them to the emergency room. The first step. And it blew my mind because I thought, if I have diarrhea or I am vomiting, do I want to get in the car and go sit in a loud hospital or a bright hospital for that matter and have people touching me? No, that's not my first choice. Um, and what kid wants to do that? There are times, though, whenever your child has had diarrhea for a long period of time, I do not mean days, where it's it's a lot, and you yourself as a parent know your child best. So if that is concerning to you, by all means, take your child in. But in my experience, most often you can fix a lot of the things easier and quietly at home than to take your child in to the hospital and have them uncomfortable and just sitting there waiting. And at times like this where the hospitals are so over overwhelmed with the cases of things coming in, it's a lot easier to treat your child at home with basic things than to take them in and sit. Because again, I myself know I wouldn't want to. Um, so just trying to do those. We also, when we first started having children, we took our children in if their ears hurt. And I realized as soon as we got them into the hospital or to the doctor, not the hospital, we took them into the doctor's office, I mean, we would get them into the doctor's office and they, no offense, they're not always gentle. Even pediatricians are not gentle. And they would come in and you have to look in their ear and they're like, hold still, and your kid is screaming leave my head alone. And as a parent, you feel so helpless because you're like, I know I'm helping my child, but when I realized we could treat those kinds of things at home without having to go to the hospital or doctor's office or make an appointment for that matter, um, it was so much easier because I could look into their ear. You can buy the kit from, I believe it's Walmart, if not CVS or Walgreens has it. And buy the otoscope, hook it up to your phone via the app, and take a look. If you have questions, there are plenty of telemedicine doctors out there too that can generally give you a quick idea if something is not right and you need to treat it. If it's treatable at home, I mean, I think back to when we went on our first vacation to Mansfield years ago, and we looked through Laura Ingalls' house, and it's always been kind of like I tell people I would love to live like Laura Ingalls and the Partons all rolled into one. I just love everything about their families. Um, and I remember looking in Laura's room, and Almanzo, he had a little medicine chest next to his bed, and I was like, that is so simple, Like, why do we as a society now have to complicate things or, we have um, so much more. Like we have so much more and then we end up with a lot of problems from those things. We end up with like a lot of unwanted side effects from those things. So I would much rather be able to place some ear oil in my kid's ear than to watch my kid suffer from diarrhea due to an antibiotic that they were given that is now destroying their gut and might clear up their ears. And that's my personal preference. And so, talking to a lot of moms over the years, I have realized that that's also their personal preference, that they would much rather, excuse me, they would much rather treat their child at home in the comfort of their home than to run out and take their child in to be seen while they're sick. Because, again, like I said, who wants to go and be touched? I mean, when we're sick, generally, we want to be left alone. We want to like just stay in our bed, which is what a lot of children do, and they don't want to be thrown into the car and have to drive to the hospital, well, ride to the hospital and be touched and everything. I do know that there are so many times that those things are actually necessary. I do get that. Um, they are necessary for multiple reasons. Your child might have a complex case where they have to be seen if they get sick. And by all means, take your child in. Don't ever just start researching things online. If your child is um, a medically complex case, always take your child in and be seen. But for the majority of people, that is not the case. And I feel like um, it it just takes up so much time to run in and be seen and um, whatever versus just reaching for something that you can comfort your child at home immediately and you just they're usually back at it in a couple days and stuff. um, so again, always use your own discretion and listen to your body if you're treating yourself. um, Listen to your child if you're treating your child, and just start small, work your way through them, and if you have any medical emergency, always seek help. Do not try to treat something on your own at home if it's outside of your comfort level. Because again, like I said, I've had a lot of people who I've heard stories who they have done that exact thing. They have um, essentially they have let their family member suffer, and sometimes it has really negative outcomes due to suffering because of that. So always, always use common sense. But if anybody has any questions further in regards to any of the things that I just mentioned on here, feel free to drop that in the comment section below, and I will try to get back to you on that. If there's any further questions and it warrants another video, I can always make another video based on what it is that somebody's wanting to know about. So if you like this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. That helps our channel to be seen by other people out there. So, well, until next time, thanks for watching.